What about you have someone in your organization that you're leading that you don't really connect with as a person? Maybe you just don't like their personality, and it's really, really tough for you to care for them. And this is where I see it really becoming difficult to sacrifice yourself for them. Like, what do you do in those circumstances? What advice do you have in those instances to really, because I could see, like, if you're sacrificing for one person but not another one, it may actually become a negative feedback where they see this unequal treatment where your acts can actually create a wedge in the group. How do you balance that?
There is so much there. We could honestly do a podcast just on this concept, but so we had a guest on the podcast a few episodes ago, Doug Crandall, and he was talking about when he was an instructor at West Point and he first got there, he met someone who told him, "I've never met a bad cadet." What the person was saying was that it was a mindset. The reality is, as much as we try not to be biased against different people, we often are for whatever reason. Maybe we had an interaction with them. It's like, what a jerk. And that clouds how we interact with them
Mhm.
moving forward. And then as a result of what's called the Pygmalion Effect, how we see people is how they will respond. It's a fascinating phenomenon. If I expect good things from you, you will produce good things. If I expect bad things from you, you will produce bad things. It's amazing this interaction that happens as a result of the Pygmalion effect. And so I think that perhaps in those scenarios, the first thing we should do is look in the mirror and say,
Mm.
what is our contribution to this? What part are we playing in this negative relationship and interaction? We often create this narrative that it's the other person solely, right? I mean, you and I have had friends who've gotten divorces. We know our friend's side of the story. We don't know the other side. We don't know the ex-wife or whatever's side of the story, right? But there are two sides of that story. And so the same is true in these negative relationships we might have in the workplace when we're leading people, is that we see only our side of the story, and what's called the fundamental attribution error results in us not understanding the other person's side of the story. So we attribute to them negative things. So now we've got this bias that we've created as a result of some probably minor interaction at some point early on.
Mhm.
And then they become problematic because we expect them to be problematic as a result of the Pygmalion effect that transpires, and it creates this cycle, right? And the way to break that cycle, you're probably not going to break the cycle by intervening on that person, but you can intervene on yourself. And then you've got a chance to actually disrupt it. Because when you start treating that person in a different way, they'll start responding in a different way, in a better way. Now, I can imagine there are people out there who's like, well, you haven't met this person that works with me or that person, the other person. You are correct. I haven't. But I think as leaders, it's our job to do our very best to bring out the best in the people that we're leading. And this is the first step in trying to do that. And you go down that pathway and you try your best. And if they are just recalcitrant, then it's a different thing. But I would say absolutely the first step is, what am I contributing to this relationship that's causing it not to work?